everyone, it's Keru here. Welcome to the best apocalypse ever. The show where you can win a chance to subscribe to my channel. Hey, seriously guys, I need 100 subscribers because YouTube is asking me for that in order to be able to have a custom URL, meaning so I can write so that the address of my channel can be youtube.com/bestapocalypseever instead of what it is now, youtube.com/28. So subscribe. So today I'm walking around in Albissola Superiore. That's in the region of Liguria in Italy, and it's freaking beautiful. Pretty damn awesome. There's a long walkway. I've never been to the end of it this way actually. We might go there today, discover. I don't come out here often. Oh, that's so nice. I'll show you something cool. Look at you. Look at yourself. Hope you can see this. Yeah! So that's one of the things I like here. There's like artwork, different art things all over the place. You just have to open your eyes and see a lot of cool things. There's this, I don't know what that is. That looks pretty cool. There's a lot of ceramics here. We're in sort of the capital of ceramics. So all this is ceramics. So today I have so much stuff to talk about. I don't even know where to start. Oh yeah, some people wrote to me. Some people wrote to me, not necessarily recently, but like over the years I've been making, these videos. Some in English, a lot in French. But sorry, there's some naked people on the beach. Some people wrote to me, and sometimes they say, "Oh, you should talk about this. You should make a video about that." Blah blah blah. And some have said that I should talk about the flat Earth theory. And okay, so once and for all, I'll tell you what I think about the flat Earth theory. First of all, I want to say that whenever you're presented with a new information, whether it's like a whistleblower coming out or some new website or some new, someone does a conference about something, or even just a meme, man, there's some flies around here that are they're really into me. Charisma. Yeah, whenever you're presented with a new information, it's a good idea to ask yourself, well, what's the end goal? Like, what is this person or organization or whatever trying to get me to do about what they're telling me? And that's not always easy to see, because a lot of it is propaganda or disinformation, and they won't advertise it as such. China is not going to say, "Hey, we're lying to you about this." They're just going to say, "Hey, this is great," and we're not China. Everyone's trying to make believe that there's someone else to sell you something. But if you take the flat Earth theory and you apply this method of just asking yourself, what are they getting me to do if I subscribe to this theory? You have to come to the conclusion that whether the Earth is flat or round or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a freaking difference. It doesn't make a difference, and I'll tell you why. Let's say you're right, flat earthers. Okay, we've proven it. The Earth is flat. Everyone agrees. Now what? Now what? Do we still have wars? Yeah. We still have psychopathic trillionaires trying to kill everybody? Yeah. Are we happier? I don't think so. Does it solve anything at all? I don't think so. So it doesn't make a difference. That's why it's so smart. Get everybody riled up. Oh, the earth might be flat after all. Yeah, so? So? I mean, it's a big thing, but so what? If it doesn't change anything, if it doesn't help anything, yeah, but we're gonna find out. They finally lied to us. Okay, so your big finding is that NASA and the government lied to people. Well, thanks, Captain Obvious. Duh. I think we know that by now. So, so anyways, just don't worry about it. If you're really into like physics and space exploration, and you really want to know how planets are made, and go ahead and study that. My guess is that you'll find pretty quick that the flat earth theory doesn't work, doesn't hold any water. But if you really want to change something about the world and change some of the lies that we've been told, pick another subject. Because at the end of the day, you're making us look like fools. Because what are the media doing? Anyone saying anything against the government is called a flat earth theorist. I know I've been called that. My own mother said, "Do you believe in flat earth? You probably believe in flat earth." So get out of here. Get out of here with the flat earth. Anyways, and there's a lot of these fake theories. Anybody? You don't need. Dogs are cool. Yeah, speaking of, so, at the end of the day, the flat earth thing seems to be a psychological operation in order to discredit people who talk about more serious things. And I think that's all it is. So, looks like we're at the end of this beach. There's still people swimming. We're October, what is it, 11? 10, 11? So, yeah, speaking of psychological operations, there's an excellent presentation done by Mark Passio, one of my favorites, where if you've been following his work, you might not learn anything new, but what he says is worth repeating and repeating and repeating, because even the most awakened people I know don't always get it. It takes a long time to get it. And basically he talks about PsyOps, psychological operations. So things that are put in people's mind to destabilize them, discredit them, make them look one way where something is happening the other way. It's a very, very good presentation. I'm going to try to remember to link it in the description, so please check it out. In his presentation, Mark Passio goes through a list of different psychological operations and sort of analyzes them. It's very interesting. And one of them is Q, the Q movement. I knew he was completely against that, completely doesn't believe it, thinks everyone who believes it is an idiot. Basically his position is that it's a type of operation that he calls a stand-down operation. In other words, propaganda to get people to do nothing because there's a savior, because the white hats are going to come out of nowhere and save us, and everything's going to be cool, therefore there's nothing to do. Now, I agree that these types of operations exist. They've always been used, probably in every war. This type of propaganda is always used. That being said, I've always had a problem with this Q thing. I've always been sort of 50-50 about it. First, because I agree with Mark Passio, it's possible that it's a PsyOp. But on the other hand, I can't conceive that there would not be white hats. I can't conceive that of all the people in the intelligence community, the military, even government, that there wouldn't be a few, enough to get something together and counter what's going on. I may be wrong. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because there's some naked people over there, and Italians are just, goddamn. Whew. They look good, man. Anyways, why am I making videos? Should be swimming. But so they're I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, so on one hand, I understand his point, Mark Passio's point, that might be a PsyOp. On the other hand, it seems impossible that no one in the military with any power or in the intelligence community worldwide, that no one would ever do anything, that they would just let this agenda go through. And I understand most of them are brainwashed, but I can't fathom this, that no one would do anything. So to me, it is possible that some people get together and make plans and try to counter some of the worst things going on. It is possible that there is a plan. And I was hearing about this plan thing for a long time, even before Q, which might have been propaganda also. I don't know. But on the other hand, I've talked about this before. There's a lady, I can't even say her name because I'm risking being censored. Her first name is Janine, and she's Canadian. She does tarot card reading. I've been following her for a while, and basically her cards, her last name is Morijo. So you can find her if you know where to look, like on Rumble, places like that. I'm sorry, I can't be too specific, otherwise I'll get censored, and that's my point. This lady's been making videos with a guy you may know called Jean-Claude from Beyond Mystic. He's got a French name, but he does videos in English. And basically, every time they would look at the world situation, every time they would look at the President of the United States, Inc. stuff, every time they would look at any countries, any situation, even the virus versus injection situation, what her cards told her, and she says she's been doing tarot and living off her tarot for 40 years. So I don't know what she knows, but she knows tarot. I think she might know tarot. And she started not knowing much about the situation in the world, and basically believing the media and the government version. But as she was asking her cards for specifics, she kept getting answers she didn't expect, according to her. That drew a completely different scenario. And every time she asks, it's always the same cards, it's always the same scenario that comes up. And the reason I'm talking about this is that her scenario is really interesting. And she is being censored. Like, she had 2 different YouTubes, they were censored. She made shows with Jean-Claude from Beyond Mystic that got censored. On her YouTube channels, before she got censored, she would make videos, they would be taken out. She had to re-edit them multiple times, taking out words. Like, she has to change everything she talks about. Like, she doesn't say Trump, she says Mr. T. She doesn't say, like, she replaces every word by something else, you know, a gesture or other names, so that the algorithm is not going to pick up on it and censor her. But like, she's really dealing with pretty heavy censorship. And her story is that not only is there a collective white hat organization with a plan, but that this plan is so advanced that they're actually, by now, in control of what's going on in the world, mostly. Not 100%, but mostly. And I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying I agree 100% with it. I'm just saying, why is Mark Passio never censored? And this lady always censored. So basically her version is really, really interesting. And if you look at the news, well, don't look at the news because you're gonna get dumb, you're gonna lose IQ points. But I mean, if you kind of look at what's going on and what's being peddled as news these days, and you filter it through her theory, it gets really interesting. Like, basically her theory is that people like Macron, Biden, Trudeau in Canada, and others have been essentially captured. They're under the control of a new puppet master. There were always puppets, but instead of being puppeted by the bad guys, basically, they're puppeted by this white hats organization, so-called good guys, which we'll talk about later. And the reason that this whole charade continues and is getting worse is because of the sleepers, because of the people who refuse to see the immensity of the corruption that's going on. So basically their plan seems to be, we could liberate the planet today. We have the resources to do that. From the cabal, whatever you want to call it. But if most people are still asleep and still want this crazy system to continue, they're not going to go along, and we're going to fail. They're going to cause the civilization to revert to the corruption. They need to wake up. Basically, their thing is everybody needs to wake up, whether they want to or not. And if you wake up people too fast with truths that are just too intense, they can die. You can have people jumping off the windows and killing themselves because it's too much. It's like your entire. That's why people are in denial now, because if they accept the truth, their entire view world just crumbles. That's hard to do, man. Speaking of view world, worldview, I mean, sorry, speaking backwards today. This is an Italian flag. This is where I live now. Grazie mille, Italia. And by the way, I have no idea if I'm still gonna live in Italy in 3 weeks. I'm so broke. Anyways, so subscribe to my channel and find a Bitcoin millionaire, crypto millionaire, to give me 1 Bitcoin, please, or 2. So basically, this lady's saying the good guys are controlling the puppets that we see, who are controlling everyone under them. And not only are they letting them do the bad stuff, they're encouraging them to ramp up the action, to make it as crazy as possible, so that people eventually will say, well, this doesn't make sense. It's got to stop. This doesn't make sense. We can't agree anymore. We can't go on anymore. That's why in Quebec there's an 8th wave, 8th wave of virus that you'll never know you're sick unless you get tested. And you'll never have a friggin' symptom unless they tell you that you have you have the bug. It's so nuts. It's completely nuts. But it's nuts. But I mean, that's where we are. That's the level of hypnosis and denial that people are going through. So when it comes to this Q thing, I think I agree with Cliff High. Cliff High says, yeah, Q is a PsyOp, but it's a PsyOp from, not from the cabal, from the white hats. It's a PsyOp against the people to wake them up. Because we can't really go for the kill, well, maybe kill is not the right word. We can't remove the world leaders and the top of the chain of command of corruption until enough people agree with it and demand it. So that to me would make more sense than saying that the entire Q thing is a PsyOp. Would make more sense that some people in military and intelligence would say, okay, we can't just act, we can't just do stuff without the people's consent. But people are under hypnosis, so we have to get their consent. How do we get their consent? Unfortunately, we tried a lot of things with whistleblowers, with re-information people, with, you know, all kinds of stuff. And it hasn't worked, not enough. So what do people understand? Well, unfortunately, sometimes they understand suffering. So now we're going to, you know, we got to suffer. That's why we're going through this crap. We got to suffer. So the majority that still doesn't want to get with the program just gets it. And to me, that makes more sense. But I'm not sure. Who am I to know? I don't know. I still don't know. I know one thing, though. In Italy, less than 2 weeks ago, there were elections. And the lady that was elected openly speaks against the World Economic Forum and all this crap, all this agenda. And October 1st, the mask mandate, for the first time since the beginning of this crisis, was not renewed in like public transportation, which was probably the last place where you needed to wear a mask. So, you know, actions speak louder than words. She got elected, she did it. She removed the mask in the bus. And there's still people wearing masks in the bus, and the big thick ones. I've talked about that already, but it's still going on. But not now they're a minority. So if we do things well, and if we keep pushing, I believe the asleep will be the minority eventually. So I'll do you one better. Not only is it possible that there would be these white hats, not only is it possible that they're in control of a bit of the situation, more than we think, and gaining on the enemy, I think. The new election in Italy is an example of that. I read last week, not last week, I read yesterday, that because Italy was going along, or was going against the World Economic Forum and all that, those crazy plans, Russia was going to help Italy with gas and all that, while they're basically choking out the rest of Europe. So it's not Russia, it's the sanctions against Russia, but Russia were going to help Italy. I don't know if that's true. I hope so, because it might help me. But and because it's going to be one less country suffering, obviously. But not only that, but I'll do you one better. I read something, this is on Benjamin Fulford's website. I know he's very controversial because he makes big predictions, and not prediction, but he says big things, and he has contacts like in the CIA and other organizations with which have not always have not always been honest. That's being very, very politically correct. Now he said, and what he says is true because I remember it happening the day before September 11, 2001, the day before the attack, the World Trade Center thing. So September 10th, U.S. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld, remember him? I'm sorry for bringing him up. He announced the day before 9/11, he announced that $2.3 trillion, that's US dollars for you Canadians out there, were missing. $2.3 trillion were missing from the US defense budget. We're not talking about me busking with my guitar and dropping €1 somewhere that I can't find it and it ends up in the back of my pocket. We're talking about the US defense budget. 2.3 trillion, why is it so hard to say? $2.3 trillion missing. We don't know where it is. And what he doesn't say is that I heard that supposedly the accounting place where they kept the information that could have led to finding out where that money went was exactly in the Pentagon, exactly in the spot where the airplane / missile hit the Pentagon the next day. Anyways, multiple sources, whistleblowers, and are saying that this money didn't go to buy bubble gum. It went to secret programs, secret space programs. So basically there's this whole theory that we're already in space and well established in space. This is the breakaway civilization theory, or that at the very minimum we have access to incredible technology that can take us to space, anti-gravity and other stuff, and that this was paid through stolen money, obfuscated funds from the among other places, the Department of Defense from the US, and that it was used for these sort of black projects where there's no accountability. The President of the United States cannot call these people and ask what's up. They will hang up the phone on him. Now, the interesting part of what Benjamin Fulford was saying is that at the end of the day, if we succeed in taking down the bad guys, exposing the corruption, the deep corruption, those technologies that were developed were paid by the people, and they belong to the people. So when I talk about the best apocalypse ever, one of the things I mean is that if this is true, and I mean, you know, what if you already had everything? Like, you got your private island, you got your sex slaves, you got all the whatever drugs you can snort or inject or whatever, you have everything, all the cars and the whatever you want. And then you steal $2.3 trillion extra. What are you gonna do with that? What's this for? Wouldn't it make sense that someone who does that would say, hey, you know what, this earth that we've kind of messed up, because they messed it up, they made us mess it up, what if we go somewhere else? What if we get out of here and don't tell anyone? What if we use Earth as a resource for us to go beyond and have some fun somewhere else? Whatever they do. But at the end of the day, all this technology belongs to us. And the reason I'm telling you about this is that this is how, like, it took me a long time to realize that this could be true and could be done. But imagine if it's true and we get rid of these people and we seize everything they have. And next thing you know, all this technology belongs to humanity. So from one day to the next, pretty much, which probably means that it's going to take a couple years, but still, from one day to the next, we can go from the caveman reality we have here to basically Star Trek reality. And Star Trek is not an ideal because they're always fighting against someone, but I mean, maybe we have these technologies and they belong to us. Maybe they don't have to remain hidden. We have the right to take them. We paid for them. At the end of the day, we paid for them. It's just a bunch of assholes who tried to keep them for themselves and not tell anyone that they even exist. So I don't know which part of this is 100% true, 10% true, but I think it's interesting to visualize something like this happening. I mean, imagine that. And even if it's not like Star Trek stuff, imagine all the technology that the army has everywhere in the world, and the secret services and the intelligence, so-called intelligence community has. We can have access to that. We can use that. We can use that to make our world better instead of destroying it. And it already, a lot of the stuff already exists. When internet came out, they said that it had been invented and used by the army 25 years before. 25 years before. Now, internet came out somewhere in the 80s, I think, late 80s. Trying to remember. I think 80s that it came out for the public. So it's been a while since then. So imagine how advanced the technology can be right now. The hidden technologies. That's crazy. And we can have access to that. So that's how we can go from where we are today to like a really quantum leap. A lot of people that, I tell them like humans are about to evolve really fast. And they don't believe me. They're like, no, it takes millions of years or to evolve, blah, 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 blah. But now we have the means to evolve really fast, which has its own dangers also attached to it. So, as I was saying in the last episode, we got to know what we want, because we might get more than we bargained for. So we have to decide what we want now and stick to it, kind of have integrity about what we want. Hey, different time and different place. I forgot when I was filming in Albisola. Now it's like a few days later. Under the sun. I was supposed to eat something before. Like it was like 4 or 5 p.m. and I went there to do some groceries and also film this episode. But before filming, I thought I'm going to eat something because I didn't eat all day. And I sat down on a bench and some people came to talk to me. People are very sociable here. And we ended up talking for an hour, and just out of respect for them, I just put my stuff away and had like a bite or two. And with the sun and not eating and the hour, at the end of the video, I was getting a little bit woozy. So I thought, man, I better stop because I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Now it's a few days later, I've watched what I filmed and it doesn't show, and it's actually exactly what I wanted to say, so perfect. But this is a big subject, the white hat subject, and all that is a very big subject, and I have many other things to say about it. So what I will do, because I don't want it to be too heavy of an episode, I'm going to split it in two. So what you're seeing now is the end of part 1, and I'm going to record part 2 here, I guess. Maybe we'll hear the bells ringing again. That's the church where the bells ring. And So you'll have like maybe 2 episodes of half an hour instead of one that's maybe an hour long. I think it will be easier to digest. So thank you for your patience. I hope you like this content. Let me know. Subscribe and like and comment and share this video. And I love you very much. And together, let's have the best apocalypse ever. Dance to the moon, a drop of wine.